Welcome back to another episode of RecTalk. I'm your host, Nitin Sharma, recording live from the 2025 Team Conference. My guest at this time is Michelle Flynn. Michelle, thank you for joining me.
Good morning, Nitin.
Morning. Right.
Late night.
Yeah. Oh, it was indeed. Yeah. Very. Yeah. Anyway, let's start by talking about your breathwork session this morning.
Yes.
I've never done a breathwork session before. I was a bit kind of like, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what this is going to be. It was very relaxing, and I was worried I was going to fall asleep. But I think that's more to do with the fact that I was like, I haven't had enough sleep.
Yes.
So what's the purpose behind the breathwork piece?
Yes. So the reason that I decided to start with that one this morning was that people have either had a late night or travelled in this morning, and it was just an opportunity to take a moment before the exciting stuff of the conference began. Because what usually happens is we get up and we run into our day and we don't even take a moment to check in with ourselves physically, mentally, whatever that might be. So I thought, right, the morning one, I'm just going to give people some different breathing patterns, and as you saw, with some nice music laid in. This is not woo-woo yogi stuff. This was kind of some nice house tracks in there. To teach people, it's functional breathing. So I'm an Oxygen Advantage instructor, and it is all about the science of the body and regulating the nervous system, which fundamentally controls every system in our body. Yeah. Immune system, digestive system, through to sort of the brain and the ability to focus.
Do you know, I will say, yeah, absolutely, that walking in, I was like, all right, I've got so much to do. I've got to get this set up, I've got to do a sound check, I've got to do that. And then after the session, I was sort of like, all right, yeah, got plenty of time, take it chill. So maybe it did work for me, but
there you go.
It's a bit like maybe placebo. But there's something that you wanted to talk about that you're working on right now that you think will really help from a motivational point of view to recruiters, right? So tell me about that. Flow state?
Flow state, yes. So I think when I first started doing breath work, I got a lot of sort of the looks, the sort of the why, what is this? This is a load of rubbish.
Yeah.
And then people would experience it and go, okay, this is something.
Yeah.
But I was like, how do I get people to really understand what it does? And then I was researching flow state, and I was like, this is it. Because ultimately, we look at sort of group flow on the sports field in a football team or in kind of like any team sport, through to kind of the military and sort of the way that they work together. And you go, as recruitment businesses, if we can create group flow, and whether that is between sort of our delivery consultants and our BDers, whether that is between our ops team and our sort of the finance team, whoever that might be, when we can create that state of flow, we achieve more.
Okay.
And there's brilliant research done by McKinsey, which gives the data. So when you are in flow state, you are 500% more motivated. So imagine if we could have your recruiters being 500% more motivated. Just on that alone, you will be more creative, you will be more innovative, you will learn better, you will remember things. And this is all science, and it is all about the neurochemicals in the brain. Right. And the link to breath work is that if you do breath work before going into a state of flow, you create something called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide then creates flow. Right. So that's where suddenly, now that I'm talking about it in this way, it's all in science. Okay. And you can also use it.
So flow state, is it a state of mind then, or is it like a when your body goes into ketosis, as an example? Like is that what it is? Like you're putting yourself in, or you're encouraging your body to release certain things to put you into a more concentrated.
Yes.
Area. Okay.
Yeah, so if you imagine, it's easy when we're doing things that we love. So you imagine that you're playing a video game, or you're doing a jigsaw puzzle, or you're out for a run and you enjoy it, and suddenly you're like, where did that time go? Like everything
when you're real zoned
easier.
in, focused on something, and you're just like, this is
exactly when you are in the zone, and it's at that moment where nothing else matters. Like sort of Simone Biles, when she's doing sort of the beam in the Olympics, she has to be in the zone, otherwise she's going to fall off. Yeah. Lewis Hamilton driving around the Formula One, he has to be in the zone, and that is flow state. And if you can create that as an individual or as a team, then the stats are there as to how much more improvement you will get in whatever you're trying to achieve.
Right. Okay. And so how does one get an individual, let alone a group of people into a flow state?
So
it's just like having to do a session every day before your recruiters start. Do you know what I mean?
So it depends on what it is. Like if you love BD, then you're just going to be excited and you're going to want to do it anyway.
Right.
Like flow state for things that we love.
Which is about 1 in 10 recruiters, but what about the other ones?
Exactly. Or let's take admin. How many recruiters like admin? They don't. So if you can create that state when you're going into something that you maybe don't necessarily want to do.
Right.
So when you look at kind of the circular flow, the first thing is the bit of the struggle. Oh, I don't want to do this. Then you get into the release, and that's where breathwork comes in. And that doesn't have to be 5 hours of sort of chanting. It's not that. We're just talking, as you saw this morning, sort of a few minutes of controlled breathing. And then you go into the task you want to do. And I would suggest like time blocking it. So like using the Pomodoro technique where you go, right, 25 minutes, all you're doing is BD or admin or whatever the task is. Give yourself a little 5-minute break. That's your recovery period. And during that time, stretch your legs, get away from the desk, and then come back, go again.
Right, okay, fine. And you're coaching recruitment businesses currently who are doing this?
Yes.
Are working in this sort of pattern and that kind of thing, right? And you've seen the uptick in output, which obviously is going to result in sort of better revenues and better activity and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
What are the objections you get? Because there must be some people who are like, what a load of tosh. What is she talking about?
Are.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Of course
like,
they are.
So,
most of them.
yeah. So how are you overcoming that? Because there are going to be people listening to this being like, it just sounds a bit cult-like, right? I don't want to have my team all sat there going, oh, right, ready to go, ready to build. You know, it just seems a bit culty.
I completely get that, and I come across that all the time. But you look at, like, we're kind of corporate athletes, so we might not be sort of sports athletes, but we're still...
That's a really interesting way of putting it, actually. Yeah.
What happens before a team goes into what, again, let's just use football, they get together. Well, you look at a concert and the main singer and all of the performers, they all get together. And they will have different things that they do, but they're getting in the moment, they're setting what we're about to do, and then they go for it. And ultimately, people won't know the benefit until they try it. So the reason I was really excited to be invited here to do breathwork with such a large number is
demonstrate it.
You can try it. Yeah. And it doesn't cost anything to do breathwork. You can do it anywhere, like even down to which nostril you breathe through has a different impact on how your body feels. So by giving people the opportunity to feel it, and this afternoon session is going to be the complete opposite. I am going high energy. I'm doing things that I've never done before in the breathwork space because I just know that the team members are going to be up for kind of the fun we're going to have. But when you try it and you feel it, so I did it with a recruitment company the other day. The leader was looking at me all a little bit skeptical. By the end of the session, the look on his face, which is the look I see time and time again, which
That's
was
the
like,
one you're going for, isn't it?
That just happened. And I was like, yeah, you go. So until you feel it, you will think that it's all a bit sort of, cult-like is exactly the thing. Because it can feel like that.
I love what you do. I deeply respect you. But yeah, I hear you talk sometimes and I'm kind of like, she lost the plot. Like, it's this little, this like Michelle the yogi sat there being like, be one with yourself. But when you then put it into context of, sports teams who will rile each other up before a match, or, singers and dancers before a show will get together and huddle and, sometimes they'll pray, sometimes they'll, whatever they do.
Yeah.
I see that comparison, and then you're absolutely right that not even in our industry, in work in general, you wake up, you have your shower, you do what you need to do, you get to work, and that's it, right? You just start spinning the wheel.
Yeah.
Of course you're going to be depressed about like how shit your job is or whatever if you're not putting yourself in that state of, right, I'm going to achieve today, and here's what I'm going to achieve today, or here's what I'm aiming to achieve today, and that kind of thing. So culturally, as a business, if the culture is ingrained in getting yourself into that state of mind and before you do any activity, and rewarding then 25 minutes of bursts of activity with the 5 minutes of downtime, now go and have a fag, go and have a shit chat, go and do whatever you want to do, and then let's get back on it again. Of course that's going to work, because that works in every other walk of life.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like, there's no sport that you don't have a little break in between to have a little chat, have a little rest, rehydrate, go again.
Yeah.
So we have to sort of stop looking at it as this thing where you just get and you sit behind a desk and you pick the phone up and think you can work at your best. And yes, we can work on mindset and reframing how we think, and all of that is brilliant, but that takes time. Whereas sort of what breathwork does is that is changing the sort of biology of your body, your hormones, instantly. It is reducing your adrenaline, it is calming your heart rate. Like people this morning, as they open their eyes, they're like, oh my God, the lights are brighter. And I'm like, you've just cleared away that brain fog that gets in the way from us being able to know what we've just got to go and achieve. So I absolutely get it that people do think it is skeptical, and I don't have people sort of omming and chanting, and I very much talk about the science, but even down to how we breathe. I had a guy the other day, I gave him some mouth tape, which always sounds a bit weird, but it's a thing. And his sleep quality, his sleep score has never really been much above 40.
Right.
And with one night of him taping his mouth, he showed me a sleep score the next day, 87. And all he did was tape his mouth. So all of these things that I think before people were all a bit like, this is weird, more and more, they're starting to get it.
Yeah, this is very similar to sort of late 90s, early 2000s. All of a sudden people started learning more about nutrition and balancing what they eat and what they put in their bodies, and then all of a sudden you saw records start getting broken and personal bests start getting hit, and before you know it, you know, the guy who lives 2 doors down the road in his 50s is running a marathon, and which didn't happen as much before that, right? It was so it is, maybe this is just the evolution of that kind of psychological piece around, listen, everything you do and everything you are in work is a reflection of what you are outside of work, right?
Absolutely.
And so if you're not getting enough sleep, if you are stressing about the life that you've got or whatever, those changes will need to be made to impact your work time, right?
Yeah.
How receptive have business owners been to this sort of stuff, though?
A lot more recently, now that I've started to talk about it in a different way. At the beginning, I was getting really frustrated because I was like, this stuff is so good, but people...
Will you fucking listen?
Yeah, basically. I'm like, why are you not buying it? And then as soon as I started to talk about flow state, and then as soon as people started to talk about it, so the reason I got invited, I'm a team supplier, but the reason that I was invited to do breathwork was Jeremy Snell, who's an amazing guy, had done one of my sessions, had raved about it. So suddenly there was this like, oh, well, if Jeremy likes it, okay, we'll give it a go. And the more that people talk about it, the more that people experience it, and then they go and sort of, because it is weird. So they're going to talk about it because it's not what you expect.
It's unusual,
It's unusual. The more then suddenly people are coming and asking me, and the groups are getting bigger and bigger. And it's just great fun. Like when you watch, sort of, your eyes are obviously shut, but when you see the video of it, I'm on stage having a right little dance.
Oh, yeah.
I'm having my own little dance party up there, and wait for this afternoon because the music's going to get fast and loud.
Look forward to that.
Because I'm in my flow state.
Yeah.
And I could be up there for 3 hours and I wouldn't feel tired because I'm in that moment that I'm just enjoying. And if we can create that for particularly the things that we don't necessarily enjoy, it's like, how do you get your team doing BD? And I keep just going back to that as an example. It's like,
the one thing that people seem to struggle with, right? And I think there's a variety of reasons for that, which people like Jeremy cover all the time. But yeah, it's that one thing, isn't it, that people really don't like doing.
Yeah.
And so if you can get them in this mindset of, no, I can do this, why not give that a go?
And I think it is that. It's sort of, when I do my talks on mindset, my last kind of slide says, what if it all works out? Because we so often go, well, what if they've got a PSL? What if they don't want to pay the fees? What if they hate me?
Yeah.
And then, I won't pick the phone up. And you're like, but what if it works out? And if it doesn't, learn from it. So it's that where we have to sort of put ourselves out there and step out of the comfort zone and be excited, tell ourselves a different story. Instead of I'm nervous and I'm anxious, no, I'm excited.
But that's a human trait, though, isn't it? There's that sort of anecdote of the guy who breaks down and in his car, and He's got a flat tyre. He's a long country road. He can see a house miles away. So he thinks, I haven't got a jack. Maybe that guy's got a jack. I'll walk over. But in the walk over, he's like, what if he hasn't got a jack? What if he has got a jack and he doesn't want to give it me? What if he says to me, piss off, it's not my fault you broke down? What if it starts to rain? What if this happens? What if that happens? And works himself up to the point where he gets to the house, knocks the door. The guy opens the door and he goes, I don't want your jack, and walks off.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we all do that. On a daily basis, we do that, right? Yeah, they're not going to be interested in this. We're too small of an agency. That's not our specialism. They have a PSL. The last time I spoke to them, they were rude to me. So therefore, every time they're going to be rude to me,
Yeah.
And you create this sort of monstrosity in your head of what business development is. Whereas, let's be honest, we've been in the game long enough to know that you were never going to make a cold call and pick up a vacancy in that same phone call.
No.
So let's just put that to us. And if you do, you don't want that client. Right?
That
is not the one you want to be working with, right?
Give them to everyone.
Yeah. Fucking hell, no. So once you get over that kind of initial hump that, again, I don't know many business owners that have ever said to their staff, I expect you to pick up the phone and get vacancies, right?
Yeah.
They just want you to talk to your clients.
Yeah.
And so once you get over that, and then this is, again, part of being in that flow state of, no. I'm going to ring Michelle and I'm going to find out one thing about her or about her business that I didn't already know. Yeah. That's a success, and I can celebrate that. Yeah. And I can take that success onto the next one and onto the next one and onto the next one. And hey, who knows? I may get to a point where they go, do you know what? Actually, we are hiring for something. Go on, we'll have a chat. Yeah. And that's a nice to have. That's not what I'm aiming for.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's because everything starts with how we feel. What we're thinking. If you're thinking this isn't going to work, there's not going to be any jobs, there's sort of PSL, they won't pay the fees. We're thinking all this negative stuff, and then we feel like, oh, it's just not going to work. And then the chances are we either don't pick the phone up, or if we do, we make a really shit call. Did you notice how
Q1 of 25? For most businesses, they were like, no, green shoots, things are feeling and looking better, right? And I said this on the podcast a couple of times, like, there's nothing special about January 1st. It's just a day, right? Politically, like, if you look at pestle analysis and all that sort of stuff, nothing changed from the 31st of December to the 1st of January, nothing. The only thing that changed was mindset.
Yep.
You ended the year going, it's been a shit year, everyone's had a shit year. And you started the year going, I'm going to smash it this year, I'm going to kill it this year. And guess what? You're doing well. You walk around talking about how depressed you are, you're going to be a bit depressed. If you walk around with a smile on your face, life's actually pretty good, you know?
Yeah.
But I think that again leans into this state of mind thing that you're talking about the flow state of, no, I'm going to have a good year.
Yeah.
I don't know what good's defined by yet.
Yeah.
And my definition of good isn't necessarily always year on year growth, because that just doesn't happen in the real world. But actually, if I take the metrics that are important to me, have I had a good year? Yeah, I've had a good year.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We get to do this. We get to work in an industry where the harder you work and the smarter you work, the more money you make. Yeah. We're doing it, and yet we're it's absolutely that decision to go, I'm not going to assume everything isn't going to work. I'm going to do everything I can. And yes, then absolutely a lot of talk this year about investing in people. There's been a lot of investment in tech, and that's great. Yeah. And now it's about, how you upskill the people that you've kept in the business. So I think it's a really exciting time, but it is that, today is the day, and start telling yourself a more positive story. Because if you tell yourself it's going to be shit, your brain is going to take a marker on that, and it's going to be shit.
Yeah.
So tell yourself something way more positive.
I love that. That's a great place to finish, I think. But thank you very much. I'm looking forward to your next breathing.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Breathing session. I was doing it this morning at 4:00 in the morning, testing out the playlist. I was having my own party in my room.
Why are you up at 4 in the morning?
Because I was too excited about what was going on, and a bit nervous because I don't know how people are going to feel about it. And I'm aware that for some people, they might not experience as much as somebody else, or they might not like my music, or my voice might not be relaxing for them, whatever. So, but it's that excited adrenaline, get on stage.
Yeah. So, do you know, on that, what I've learned, in the last couple of years, I love this phrase. You can be the sweetest peach on the tree, but not everyone likes peaches.
Oh.
Right?
And you're right.
I love that.
And you're so right. And we beat ourselves up. We look at LinkedIn and we compare ourselves to everybody.
Everyone. Trying to win every business. Trying to win and be friends with everybody, or do business with everybody.
Yeah.
No.
Find your people.
Not everyone likes that peach. Don't worry about it.
I tell you what I do like, the Recruitment Curry Club.
Yes.
Bloody
Yes.
love that. That
Yeah.
was the funniest night. Seriously, I can't wait for the next one.
It was an absolute disaster of an evening, right? Because we picked the one restaurant that had one chef and one griddle pan to cook
And no
a meal
booze.
for 34 people. And he was cooking them at one at a time. But that just group of people was phenomenal.
Oh, it was
People had
so
such a good time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
yes, thank
That's
you
why we do it.
for
No, thank
creating
you for
that.
coming.
That's
Thank you for
just
mentioning
been
that. No.
amazing.
There we go. Well, that's all from us. We'll see you again next time. New episodes drop every Wednesday and every Friday. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, and doing all the cool shit that you guys do to keep us on the top of the podcast charts in the recruitment space. Thank you. Mate, thank you. This has been really fun.